Sit, Duke. Come on, boy, sit. I begged, but my German shepherd just stared at me before knocking over another vase. Luna, my Labrador, was already running around, carrying up the new pillows I had just bought. See? This is exactly what I was saying, my mother-in-law, Patricia, said with a smirk as she stood in the doorway, arms crossed. These dogs are completely out of control. I told James you weren't fit to take care of them. My name is Emma, and until 3 months ago, my dogs were well trained. Duke and Luna knew advanced commands and were always gentle, but suddenly they started acting differently. At first, it was small things. Duke stopped listening to me but obeyed everyone else. Luna started destroying things, but only my things. Then they started having accidents inside the house, but only in my home office. I don't understand, I whispered as Duke ripped apart another cushion. They were never like this before. Patricia sighed and pulled out her phone to record the mess. They need a firm hand. James always said you were too soft. Maybe you should find them a better home. My stomach tightened. James, my husband, was away for 6 months on military duty, and since he left, Patricia had been around more and more. She never liked me much, and lately she had been even harsher. They're my family, I said firmly, trying to catch Luna as she ran past. I'm not giving them up. Family? Patricia scoffed. They're just dogs, and they don't respect you at all. Look at this mess. I looked around the room, feeling like I might cry. The strange thing was, my neighbor said the dogs were well behaved on walks. The pet sitter had no issues when I was at work. It was only when I was home that they acted up. That night, after Patricia left and the dogs calmed down, I sat in my messy living room watching old videos. There they were 6 months ago, doing tricks. 4 months ago, playing gently with kids. 2 months ago, walking perfectly on a leash. What had changed? Just then, my phone buzzed. A message from James. Mom sent me videos of the dogs. What's going on, Em? She says they're out of control. I started to type a reply but stopped. How could I explain that they only misbehaved around me, and that they were at their worst when Patricia was watching? Something wasn't right. The next morning, while cleaning up, I noticed something strange. Duke's old training treats near the back door. We hadn't used those in months, but there they were. I picked one up, confused. These were definitely the old treats, but how did they get here? Then I remembered. 2 weeks ago, I had seen Patricia's car in my driveway when I was supposed to be at work. She said she was just checking on the dogs since she had a spare key. At the time, I hadn't thought much about it. Now I wasn't so sure. I walked into my home office where the dogs had been having accidents. Behind my desk, I found more treats. And something else, a small red clicker, like the ones used for dog training. My hands shook. This wasn't my clicker. Mine was blue, sitting untouched in the kitchen drawer. The puzzle pieces clicked together. The dogs were fine for everyone else, but acted up only around me. Old treats appeared out of nowhere. Patricia kept pushing me to give them away. She was always ready to show James videos of their bad behavior. Could she really be behind all of this? That night, I made a plan. I bought 3 pet cameras and placed them around the house. One in the living room, one in my office, and one near the back door. Then I waited. For days, I stuck to my usual routine. I went to work, took my lunch break at the same time, and kept everything normal. The dogs continued their strange behavior, angels for others, troublemakers for me. But now I was gathering proof. After a week, I checked the camera footage, my heart pounding. At first, I saw nothing unusual. Then, on the 4th day at 10:30 a.m., the back door opened. Patricia walked in, carrying a bag from the pet store and smiling. I watched, fists clench, as she pulled out the special treats and the red clicker. Okay, boys, she said sweetly as Duke and Luna wagged their tails. Time for some special training. Let's show Emma what bad dogs you can be. I watched in shock as the video played. Patricia had been coming into my house while I was at work, training my dogs to misbehave. She brought their favorite treats and used a training clicker to teach them to ignore me. Good boy, Duke, she said in the video, clicking the device. When Emma says sit, you jump up instead. That's right. She gave him treats, undoing all the training I had worked so hard on. With Luna, she was even trickier. Here, sweet girl, she said, putting one of my shoes in front of her. Click, treat. Click, treat. Over and over, she trained Luna to think that chewing on my things was good. She spent hours with them, playing recordings of my voice and rewarding them for doing the opposite of what I said. It was all part of her plan. Soon, she told them, giving more treats. James will see that Emma can't handle you. We'll find you a better home. My hands shook as I skipped through more footage. She had turned my own dogs against me, confusing them and making me look like a bad owner. Then my phone buzzed. A message from James. Mom says things are getting worse with the dogs. Maybe we should think about what's best for them. Before I could answer, another text came. She sent me a video from today. Them destroying the house. This isn't like you. I clenched my fists. Of course, she had sent videos, but only after she had trained them to cause trouble. The next morning, I set a trap. Patricia let herself in as usual, not knowing I was watching the live camera feed from my car down the street. Time for your special lessons, she said, taking out the treats. Let's make a big mess for Emma. I had seen enough. I stepped out of my car and walked to my back door, my phone ready. Having fun? I said, pushing the door open. Patricia jumped, dropping the treats. Duke and Luna ran to me, wagging their tails, before remembering their training. Emma, she gasped, you're supposed to be at work. I picked up one of the fallen treats. Funny. These are the treats we stopped using months ago. And is that a training clicker in your hand? I was just helping, she stammered. Since you clearly can't control them. Let's watch some videos, shall we? I held up my phone. Like the part where you teach Duke to knock things over when I call him. Very clever. Her face turned pale as I played clip after clip of her secret training sessions. Duke and Luna sat beside me, no longer listening to her clicker. You don't understand, she tried. I was doing what's best. For who? I cut in. The dogs, James, or yourself to make me look bad. I never. Save it, I snapped. I've already sent these videos to James. Every single one. Right on cue, her phone rang. James' name lit up the screen. You might want to answer that, I said, scratching Duke's ears. I think he has some questions about your helpful dog sitting. Her hands shook as she picked up the call. I could hear James' angry voice demanding answers. Duke and Luna stayed close to me, finally free from her tricks, as we watched her world fall apart. The fallout was swift and decisive. James, still deployed but now fully aware of his mother's manipulation, was livid. The video calls that followed were intense, with Patricia trying to defend her actions while James systematically broke down every excuse she offered. How could you do this? His voice crackled through the video chat, his face tight with anger. Those dogs are family. Emma is family. And you've been deliberately trying to destroy that. I was only thinking of you, sweetheart, Patricia pleaded. I just wanted to show you that she's not. Not what, Mom? Not good enough. Emma's been running our household, taking care of our dogs, and supporting my career while I'm deployed. And you've been sneaking around, actively trying to sabotage her. I sat quietly during these conversations, letting James handle his mother while I focused on rehabilitating Duke and Luna. It took time and patience to undo Patricia's malicious training. We had to restart from basic commands, rebuilding their trust and confidence in responding to my voice. The breakthrough came during a sunny afternoon in the backyard. I was working with Duke on his sit command, using positive reinforcement and our original training techniques. For the first time in weeks, he responded instantly, his brown eyes fixed on mine with that old familiar trust. Good boy. I praised, my voice thick with emotion. Luna, not wanting to be left out, trotted over and sat perfectly as well. No chaos, no destruction. Just my well-trained, loving dogs being themselves again. I sent a video of this moment to James, who shared it with his entire unit. The support that flooded in was overwhelming. Even his commanding officer, a devoted dog owner himself, sent a message expressing his outrage at Patricia's actions and his admiration for how we were handling it. Patricia, faced with irrefutable evidence and the loss of her son's trust, finally broke down and admitted everything. She convinced herself that by making me appear incompetent, she was somehow protecting James. The dogs had been an easy target, beloved family members whose behavior could be manipulated to serve her agenda. I never thought about how it would hurt them, she admitted during a family counseling session James had insisted on via video call. Or how it would hurt you, Emma. I was so focused on proving you weren't right for James that I became someone I don't recognize. The road to reconciliation would be long, and trust wouldn't be rebuilt overnight. James made it clear that when he returned home, things would be different. Patricia's unlimited access to our house was revoked, and any future visits would be supervised until she could prove herself trustworthy. Life settled into a new rhythm. The pet camera stayed up, no longer needed for surveillance but serving as a way for James to check in on his whole family while deployed. He loved watching Duke and Luna's progress as they returned to their well-behaved selves, often calling during their training sessions to cheer us on. As for Patricia, the incident forced her to confront some uncomfortable truths about herself. She started seeing a therapist to work through her control issues and enrolled in a positive parenting class, her first step toward understanding healthy family dynamics. 6 months later, when James returned home, he found a house full of joy instead of chaos. Duke and Luna performed their entire repertoire of tricks flawlessly, showing off for their dad without a single overturned vase or shredded pillow in sight. "You know what this whole thing taught me?" James said that night as we sat on the porch watching the dogs play in the yard. "Sometimes the strongest people aren't the ones making the most noise. You could have exposed Mom immediately, but you gathered evidence, protected our dogs, and handled it all with grace." I leaned against his shoulder, feeling the warmth of family, both human and canine, surrounding us. "I learned something too," I replied. "Sometimes the worst situations bring out the best solutions." Those pet cameras, I'm thinking of donating some to the local shelter. They help adopters bond with their new pets remotely. Duke and Luna rushed over, squeezing between us on the porch swing, their tails wagging contentedly. They were more than just pets. They were the catalyst that exposed a deeper family issue and, ultimately, led to its resolution. As I scratched Luna's ears and watched Duke rest his head on James's lap, I realized that sometimes the happy ending isn't about everything being perfect. It's about being strong enough to protect what matters, wise enough to handle conflict with grace, and loving enough to leave room for redemption. Even Patricia, who now visits monthly under our new boundaries, has learned to show love without control. Last week, she brought over proper training treats and handed them to me to use.